Why is this so weird every time?
Hey guys, it's Lily. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. Today, we're back.
Indeed, we are back. It's been a fat minute.
Sorry, it's been a while. Jack, what happened to you?
I got sick.
Today is gonna be a fun video because it's gonna be Jack's video. Just kidding. Jack had this idea and he's really nervous, so
I don't know why.
guys,
it's not that serious.
Just give him good comments because he's really nervous.
So I wanted to talk about who I was because I feel like I've been on this channel for like, what, 4 months now? You don't really know who I am. You just kind of know that I'm Lily's boyfriend and I live in Indiana. About it. You don't, and you know I'm from Michigan, but you don't know anything about like my past.
He's gonna share his testimony. I
Not
guess.
full-blown testimony.
He's gonna share who he is.
So,
Alright, so here we go. Jack's
Why are you
testimony.
yelling?
Jack's testimony. Jack's story.
I was born on February 24th. Just had my birthday.
21.
1999. I have a sister that is my only sibling. Her name is Kira. She's older than me, and we lived in the Metro Detroit area, so a little bit outside of it. I lived there for 17 years, and I moved like a city over. Lived there for 3.5 years. No, 3 years, and then I moved to Indiana. I grew up playing sports. I was a big sports guy. Basketball was my favorite growing up until I hit high school. Then football became my favorite because there's more of a potential. So that was like my passion. I played like travel basketball growing up. I had a tournament at Michigan State, which really isn't a big deal because we got smacked. And I missed the game winner to go to the championship game. So in middle school, I guess I was kind of like, I started to get made fun of for being a Christian. Kids at the Christian school that I went to, they were like making fun of me all the time and saying I was this goody two-shoes. And I would go home like crying every day because you're in middle school. You don't know how to process bullying really. Well, I grew up in the church. I'm a pastor's kid. My dad's a pastor. Was a worship pastor at our church for 25 years. Like, I went to church every Sunday and Wednesday. The church that in school I went to were literally in the same building. So I was there at that church or building. I just fell. I was at that church or building for like 6 to 7 days a week. So I was there like every day. I started to listen to like really heavy music. And then I hit high school and I was just kind of the guy that did whatever. You know, I went to church. Everybody knew I was a good kid because I didn't do like drugs. I was never into I never did any weed. I never vaped.
I never did weed.
I was never that type of kid. But like freshman year, I had like 3 girlfriends because I thought that was what you had to do. I gotta be honest, homecoming is low-key kind of like a bad thing for a freshman because you think that the person you go with is like your wife. And I think that's kind of how I anticipated it to be going. Yeah, it's crazy. So
You thought you were gonna marry her?
no, I didn't think I was gonna marry her, but like the girl I took, I was like
into it?
captivated by because I was like, oh, I've never had a girl
Aww.
that's pretty around me before, so you know. Yeah, I had like 3 girlfriends. I did 3 sports. I played football. I started as a freshman at the team with my team, but it was also we only had like 30 guys on the team, so we only had a varsity team. But I started on offense. You know, you think you're the stuff when you start as a freshman. And then I played basketball. I had a rough basketball year. I sprained my ankle like twice in the same year. So I was like coming back and forth and stuff. I ran track. Absolutely hate track. I'm super quick, but I have no like extra speed. So I was like, I would be winning like the first part of the race and then I would get smoked at the end. I would get like 5th every time. Then like sophomore year rolled around. My football stuff started to take off that year and I was starting to like get a lot more recognition and in the school even. And like I had a couple college coaches, like not really like coaches, but I had like emails like come to this college or something like that. But as a sophomore, that's really all you get. I was back and forth with this one girl for like the whole year. That kind of like threw me in like a spiral because it was like all I cared about was her, sports, and like God was like literally out of the like equation. My parents would tell me like, hey Jack, you should want like a God to be in your relationship, and I would listen to them, but like I would like force God down everybody's throat when I really didn't even like serve him well or anything like that. After that year, I kind of hit like a place where like I didn't really care about things anymore. My junior year, I came around and I had like my best football season ever. I had a couple times where I was on the news just for certain plays, not like I was a stud athlete. I wasn't any 5-star, 1-star, any star like that. I wasn't a Division I football player, but I was definitely like a Division II football player, and you know, I had a lot going for me that year. Like I had like that feeling like this is my year. Like I have to show them what I can do as a junior, because then senior year, you can just take off after that. And football eventually became like my idol and like who I wanted to be and stuff like that. And I would go to youth group, but I would never want to like pursue the Lord. I just kind of lived the life. I did the good things. I was a good person, but I was never like passionate. I was even in like the leadership institute at my school, and I did that for 4 years of high school. And I mean, I was a leader, but I definitely could have been a better person. I could have pursued God a lot more and been better about that. I dated a girl my junior year, and she was a really nice person, good person. It just didn't really work out. In that summer of my junior year, I started to like go to parties, and I just didn't really. I was like kind of awkward, and I didn't know like what I was doing. But I
could not see you being awkward.
I was like one of the cooler kids, but then like when it hit a certain crowd, I was definitely one of the more awkward ones. So that's kind of what it was. I wouldn't say cooler. I was more the well known, I guess. My senior year, literally nothing else mattered to me than getting a scholarship. So I took the ACT. First time I got a 16. Took it again, I got a 15. And you need an 18 to get a scholarship to play football. And my grades sucked. I had like a 2.8 like my whole high school career. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was really bad. Schooling was just not my favorite thing. I still hate it. It's okay. Yeah, so my senior year of football was not anything I anticipated. I had like half the stats that I had my junior year. Mostly, well, there was like teams in our conference that were like planning for me. Not to say like I'm the stuff. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying like I had made a name for myself, so like people were ready for it. And like I just didn't have a year. We didn't make playoffs. That was the first time I didn't make playoffs in my senior year. And like my love for football kind of like fell apart because of just how my senior year went. I went on game day visits to like D2s, D3s, and like I had a couple NAIAs email me. So I took the ACT again, and I got a 17.
Yay, me
and I
too.
literally went in my room and like cried for like 30 minutes. I am a sensitive person. It's an actual thing. And I knew that I wasn't supposed to play football anymore. Well, I didn't want to hurt myself in the future. I could have gone and played D3, but I would have spent $30,000 to get hurt. And that's not exactly what I want. Life was kind of confusing at that point because I thought I worked hard at something, and then to find out it didn't work like that. So I wanted to go to this one school just to go to college. It was Grace College in Warsaw, Indiana. Worked it out. My parents, we were on board with it, and I was like, yeah, I want to go here. And I thought like going away to college would be like the answer to like everything. And I get there. I loved going there. The people there were amazing. I made a lifelong friend. His name's Keegan. Shout out to Keegan. I had made other friends too there. Like I like had a good time and stuff like that. Like the next thing I know, like my grades were bad again. I was actually doing good, and then I get bad again because I got in this routine of like not wanting to do good in school. I was actually the girls' basketball manager because I wanted to be a basketball coach, like a college basketball coach. So I was like working with the coach just to kind of like see what that's like and how I would want to do that. And it was actually fun. I loved getting to know the girls. They were awesome. They were a pretty good team. We just weren't like good enough to take that next step at that point. But second semester rolled around, and I like shut off everything in my life. Like I was sleeping like 14 hours a day if I didn't have class.
What the heck?
I would like go to. I remember one day I went to bed at like 1 a.m. and I woke up at 4 p.m. which is like what, like 15 hours, 16 hours of sleep.
Oh my god.
And like, cause I was like my day I didn't have class, and like all my friends were like, dude, it's literally 4 p.m. What are you doing? And I was like, whoa. It's like I was literally just sleeping, and I would never do my homework. I go home for break, and my parents sit me down and like, Jack, your grades suck. And I was like, yeah, they do, you know. And like we like talked about it, and I felt like God was calling me home to like stay at home and stuff. So I left my last part of college. I dropped out, and then I get here, I get back to home in Michigan, and then my life just started to hit a rough patch. To simplify things, I had a job working at a tent place or like a party rental place for like big events, and I quit that after 6 days. I worked at a minor league baseball stadium. Quit that after 3 weeks. I was a basketball ref. Quit that after a day. Yeah, then I get a job working at a medical equipment place, and I get fired because I'm taking too many days off. And at this point, I'm like, God, life sucks. This is the worst thing ever. My dad had resigned from his job because he felt like God was calling him out of it, and that messed me up a lot. I had a lot of growing up to do, and I was very upset about that. I ended up getting a job at this bagel shop. Big Apple Bagels, shout out. Anyway, and then I started to become an adult more. I was starting to grow up. I was helping out in youth group. It's my second year out of high school at this point, so it's like you start to see things in the real world more, and you start like you see what you need to start doing more. And then I was a fifth grade girls basketball coach at that time. I loved it. It was awesome. The girls were awesome. We were 2-8. It's not a winning record. And I will admit, you can honestly be a bad coach at 5th grade. First game, we got smacked, like, I want to say 17-2. My girls literally had no idea what they were doing. And it's not because that they didn't know how to, like, it's not like they didn't know how to dribble or anything like that. It's literally because I did not coach them well at all. I left that game like, holy crap. I need to change some things. We finished the year out, but every game that we lost the first time, we would either give the team a run for their money or we'd actually win that game. So it was actually like that last half of the season, we actually were doing really good. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. That was at my old high school, which my high school was like in a pre-K to 12. There's only like 500 kids there, so it was pretty small. I eventually felt this passion to like help out at the school. I felt like there was a need, so I went and talked to the superintendent. I emailed the superintendent. I said like, hey, like I know I'm in no place to have a job at Parkway, but I also know that I want to help out in any way that I can. Like, can we talk about stuff and blah blah blah. She emailed me back and she was like, yeah, there's actually a need and we have options for you. So started meeting up. I ended up getting a job at Parkway as a paraprofessional teacher. I taught elementary computers and gym, physical education for those that get sensitive about the name.
Gosh.
So I did that. Absolutely loved it. I loved growing with having a relationship with the young kids. I coached 5th grade boys and I also assisted a varsity girls basketball team, and it was a lot of fun, and it was honestly like I really wanted to come back. It was towards the end of my time at Parkway, and there's no need for paraprofessionals. There's not like you're hiring for a paraprofessional. I had to make a decision of what I wanted to do for my life, and I'm not saying like when you're 20 years old you have to know exactly what you want to do. That's not what I'm saying. I also knew that God had called me to be in ministry when I was a young kid in like the 8th grade, and I had been running away from that because I wanted to do stuff in sports, because sports was always my life growing up. And my mom and dad were like, hey Jack, what do you want to do? It's April, school is done in June, you don't even know what you want to do next year. And I'm like, right. So I really like started to pursue God more in like my personal life. And I really had never done that before. Like, I just kind of went to church, and that was, like, my time with God. I felt God said, Jack, you're going to be a pastor someday. My cousin was the dean of elementary, which was who I worked under, the superintendent of the school. And they said, Jack, what do you want to do in your future? As much as I would have said, I want to be a teacher. I said, I want to be a pastor, and I know that's what God's calling me to do. I ended up getting let go, and I have no bitterness about that. I don't have the credits. I had 9 credits of schooling that was transferable at that time. So it literally makes 0 sense how I got the job, but God provided for me, and he also gave me a time to learn as I was doing that. I learned how to pay my bills, everything but rent. My parents, I paid for car, health insurance, gas, my phone bill, and I was starting to make more mature decisions at that point. So after that I started to look for jobs in the summer. I spent a lot of time waiting, but then eventually I really was I gotta get a job, and I was gonna work at this restaurant called P.F. Chang's. I was gonna be a server there, but then I eventually was like, you know what, I'd rather do painting with my cousin. So my cousin Matt, I worked for him and I painted, and that was a ton of fun working with him too. And find out my dad was gonna get hired down here in it's the church that he works at. The main campus is in Harrison, Ohio, but the church he would be pastoring at is Batesville, Indiana, which is what brought my family down here. When I started leadership college, which is what we do, Lily and I do, and that's how we met, I knew nothing about ministry. All I knew is I wanted to do it, and I thought that I knew how to do it, but then I was we got here, and I was like, whoa, this is not what I expected. Well, I moved before my family because college started early, and my parents moved down late September. And part of my testimony actually surprisingly has to do with Lily, because most girls in the past that I had dated were never motivating me to have a good relationship with God. I would go to church with them sometimes and all that other stuff, but I hadn't dated a girl since my senior year, and I waited till I got down here, which was 2.5 years. I knew that God was telling me to wait and Honestly, that was probably the best decision I could have done because then I met her. And ever since I've been down here, I've really stepped into a relationship with God, and it's been like my own, and I've been passionate about it. And I really wanted to share who I was with you guys because I feel like you guys don't really know me. And I kind of just open up about a lot and just kind of what I've been through and stuff like that. I also want to give some encouragement. If you're like in high school, you're like 19, 20, and you don't know what you want to do yet, honestly, there's no pressure at all. And some kind of encouragement I'm going to give you is don't waste money. Money, like debt and stuff like that, is a real thing. If you know what you want to do and that's kind of the only option, then I'm not telling you don't do it. I didn't know, and I wasted $25,000 just because I wanted to go to college. And now it's like, now I have to pay for my college because my parents helped save with me and I wasted it all, and now I'm like in a predicament where I have to pay all my college now. Your life is different than everybody else. It's not going to be the same. I was a pastor's kid and I never really pursued God until I got down here. And Lily was a big part of that. I've been doing good in school too, which is amazing. I've never done good in school. So, okay, I have to tell this. Me and Lily were first talking. She like came over my house and I was like, hey mom, this is Lily. So I had like a couple of C's at that time. Lily just starts talking about how bad my grades are. Tell my mom. And like we're not even dating. And she was like, yeah, Jack just doesn't turn his work in. Jack has C's and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, and that was a very touchy subject with my mom.
So
and I was like, what are you doing? I'm not bringing you over anymore. But then I actually like really thought about that, and I was like, wow, she actually cares. And that's why she's saying it.
No, and I told her that you didn't have any of your books.
Yeah, I didn't have any of my books, and she got mad about that and all that other stuff. And from that experience, my grades have been like way better. So I just want to share that with you guys, and just so you know who I am. If you have any comments or questions, you can ask in the comments below, or you can DM me. That's a thing. But my friends make fun of me because I think I literally get on this YouTube channel just so I could have clout.
That's true.
And honestly, like that's not why I'm here.
It's Jackson Allen 20.
Yeah, that's my Instagram name, Jackson Allen 20. So you can do that if you want. You don't have to. Thank you for listening. I hope that you know more about me now.
So I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe if you did, and leave us a request down below of anything that you want to see from us or me or whatever. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, Lily_Bear with 3 R's. Follow him too. And yeah, so I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.
What do you do this?
I don't know.